Hey, what's up guys, my name is Assassin, welcome back to another episode of Dirty Bomb. Today I have a kind of an interesting topic, and that is, could and will Dirty Bomb become an esport in the future? So in the background you can see some Thunder gameplay. Someone requested it, this exact loadout. I got this in a really epic moment in a Rogan Vo case, one of the second last I think I opened. Got the sweet ass Cobalt Thunder, so here you go, nothing too exciting, but it is kind of cool. So of course Dirty Bomb is marketed as a team-based competitive first-person shooter, and I think we can all agree that is true for the most part. You know, of course teamwork sometimes is a bit lacking, but that's more because of the players that play it. But in theory this game is extremely competitive, and of course this game is already being played at a competitive level by DB Nation and the Dirty Bomb Cup or the Dirty Cup or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but there are semi-pros, quote-unquote pros, that already play this game at a very high competitive level. Now one of the main advantages of Dirty Bomb is of course it is a free-to-play game, so if it will be a competitive game or esport, basically everybody in the world with a decent PC has access and could play this and could become, with enough practice, a pro player. And that's of course a huge thing. Look at games like Dota 2 and League of Legends, both two of probably the most played games, most well-known for being esport games. Those are also free-to-play and are being played by millions and millions of people. Of course you also have Counter-Strike Global Offensive that isn't free to play, but that's really cheap and kind of the same. That's more of course the top dog competitive esport game if it comes to first-person shooters. And I'm not saying that Dirty Bomb has the potential to be the next Counter-Strike Global Offensive, because honestly I think it doesn't. It's also not really comparable, but that's an whole other thing. So there are a couple things that I think are really important for a game to be a esport, and that's first of all, is it well optimized? In my opinion, Dirty Bomb is actually quite well optimized at the moment. There is one problem since a recent update, I don't know which one, like you get micro stutters every once in a while. Your frame rate will just drop for like a split second, really annoying, especially if you're in a gunfight, so they really need to fix that. But in general I think basically all PCs with a decent graphics card, and especially the processor, because for some reason this game is really processor bound, can run this game, so I think optimization isn't a problem. Though one thing I will say is that, for instance, Counter-Strike, if you load the settings, the difference in like graphical fidelity, it doesn't really affect it too much, but in Dirty Bomb it does. This has both pros and cons, and especially in like an esport setting, you really have to take in consideration that, is this fair? Like, are players used to having like a beastly PC playing on the max settings at like really high frame rates? Is that fair against players who play on a potato with like 30 FPS on the lowest settings? But that's another thing, you know. Of course pro players, especially the top dogs, do get money, they have sponsors, all that shit, so they have access to probably some beastly PCs, and honestly this could be a whole separate video on its own. Now the second thing, of course, esports is, most esports are of course being streamed, casted, all that shit, and that's what makes the money for the organization that organizes it. So that doesn't need to be Splash Damage or Next, and that could be something else like ESCL for Counter-Strike, all that stuff. Is Dirty Bomb fun to watch? Will people watch it? In my opinion, I think Dirty Bomb can be extremely fun to watch, but the biggest thing right now is that there are just no casting tools. The tools that are available are very minimal. I've watched some matches of the DB Nation, I believe. Basically the tools they have is just the spectating mode, which is honestly really bad. You can't really fly around, you can't like do picture-in-picture stuff, you don't have like a live mini-map of all the stuff. There are just a lot of features lacking, and I know they have said that in a couple streams actually, that they are working on expanding the features, the tools for the people that want to stream. Hopefully there will ever be a demo mode, that would be absolute epic. But right now I think the tools are just too minimal to be actually like a good game to stream as it being an esport. Also the second thing is also, I talked a little bit about the casters themselves. Honestly, the type of people that cast the game can really impact the amount of players, of people that watch the game. Honestly, know, personal, I don't want to offend anyone, but the casters from DB Nation were kind of boring, and I wouldn't really watch that too long. Most of the competitive casters like CSGO and League of Legends and Dota, all those games, those people are really energetic. They know all the players, they know of all the maps, the names, the guns, all the cards, all that shit. They know all of that stuff, and they are really hyped about the game, and it makes it, in my opinion, a lot more fun to watch, actually having someone that actually knows everything about the game and even probably plays it himself at a very high level. So with the right casters, I think this could be definitely a really fun game to watch. Now then, another thing is of course the balance. Currently I think for just casual matchmaking the balance is basically spot on. I think they've done a really good job. All of the mercs currently are usable. Phantom got a rework which made them a little bit more team focused and oriented. I think that's really nice, but honestly I think that the balance is fairly nice. But there's one thing, all of the maps are quite big and actually kind of made for 7v7 or 8v8 matches, and most of the competitive games are 5v5, and I think in my opinion the maps might be a little bit too big for 5v5 matches. So either Dirty Bomb would need to have 6v6 or even 7v7, which may be a little bit too hectic, or we need to have special maps, smaller maps for the competitive side. Now another thing is, why would Dirty Bomb even want to be an esport? In my opinion, esports are just, or esport games, it is really good for the game itself. It gets a lot of exposure, millions of people watch it. I mean, some of the like top matches, the final matches of League of Legends, hundreds of thousands of people watch that. Like big companies will spend millions on like adverts to host the games and actually like sponsor the like the prize pools. Of course, that's also a big factor. The bigger the prize pool, the more people will watch, the more people that want to contest. And I think it would just be a really cheap option for some great PR, because what's better than seeing hundreds of people playing the game, enjoying it, and thousands of people watching it? That's just really good stuff. Now another thing is, of course, if you have like pro players, those people can maybe become semi quote-unquote famous. You could have special cards that are like specially designed by those players or for those players. You can even have trinkets, just all kinds of cool stuff what you see in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, of course, with the souvenir packages and the stickers with the signatures and stuff like that. Really cool. You could even have like also like CSGO. I know I've been comparing it a lot, but I think that game is just so good that it has done so much like right, that game. Dirty Bomb really should aim to be as close to that as possible, not from a gameplay standpoint, but just like the things they did right. They need to learn that. They can just kind of copy it, but you could have packages or cases in this case drop. For instance, if I don't know, 10,000 people are watching, they will drop 100 cases. You know, this could be like special cases or just elite A's and elite B's. I mean, like realistically 50% of all people that watch the stream are just there for the giveaways, honestly. So this would be kind of the same. More people watching means that bigger or more companies will spend more money, because that's just simply more people watching their adverts and seeing the logo, what they have to offer, all that stuff. Of course, they could play with just Razer peripherals or Logitech. They've teamed up with that. I think Logitech even is a sponsor currently. And another great thing about being an esport is that, like I said, it gets a lot of exposure, meaning that the game will probably grow, expanding the player base, which means just that's good for both players and for the company itself, so Splash Damage and Axon, because they get more money probably. The players, bigger community, more ideas. Maybe we'll see in the future like custom community maps, community servers, community skins, all that stuff. The more people there are, the better that will be. Also, like I said, more money, which means they can make more maps from Splash Damage themselves. They can improve the server quality, because that's another thing. We'll talk about that in just a second. And just a bigger player base means that they can have more game modes without them being underpopulated, servers that are like not full. Of course, the match times will be a lot, or not the match times, the search times will drastically decrease, which is nice. We can finally have like a ranked without having to wait 10 minutes. Now, some drawbacks that really kind of hold back Dirty Bomb from being or becoming a esport is currently we just have way too little maps. We have 6 maps, I believe. That's just not enough. People will get bored just by watching a couple matches. We need more maps if this game will be a competitive esport game. And then the final thing that I kind of hinted just a few seconds ago is that the biggest drawback I think currently is just that the server, the quality, the connection is just too crappy. They are not stable enough. I don't know what the actual tick rate is, I believe. I imagine it will be something like 30 to 60, kind of lowish. I think if you want to have like a competitive setting, especially in this game, well, not really in this game actually, but you will need at least 64, preferably 128 or higher, which means that there are more updates and that also will make the game feel better. Hit registration will be better, but that isn't the biggest problem for a game like this because it takes multiple bullets. Like in CSGO, one bullet can make a difference. In this game, it can also make a difference, but not as often as it would in other games. But I think just in general, the server quality is just too poor to be like played at a competitive level, so they will need to definitely up the server quality if this game will be a esport. Just in general, I think if Dirty Bomb ever becomes an esport, it will be a great thing for the game, for the players, and for the company honestly itself, and even for sponsors. Like I said, we could have more sponsors, which means maybe more free cases with special cards, which would be awesome. Hopefully we'll see some decent loadouts, because the current Logitech and Alienware's cards are kind of crappy. I don't know, this was just a thought I had. I think it would be epic. I know I've probably forgot like a lot of stuff. If you have some opinions of your own, please put down a comment. I'm really interested in seeing your guys' opinions. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.